What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Aligned Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Colin Meaves, and I am stoked to be here today for another episode. Today, my intention is to keep this simple for you. And what we're going to be talking about today is how to simplify health down into 5 words. And in my experience, to give some background, I worked at a CrossFit gym for nearly a decade. In that time, I also worked in a college strength and conditioning weight room with Division I athletes. I've worked with people of all ages, sizes, genders, so on and so forth. And there's always one thing that I hear is that they're bombarded by so much information that it makes it really hard to understand what they need to be doing and how to really get healthy. So my aim today is to simplify this for you and keep this episode short and simple. So let's get right into it here. 5 words: breathe, sleep, eat, hydrate, and move. Okay, those 5 words there that I'm going to go into specifically what to think about with each of those words. Okay, but those 5 words are what can encompass making health very simple for you. So let's start with the first one here, breathing. When it comes to breathing, and when I'm talking about breathing, you might be, well, we automatically breathe, is becoming more intentional and more aware of your breathing and your breath. And it starts out, excuse me, as simple as that. Because when you're saying, well, I automatically breathe, it means that there's a subtle awareness, but you need to become more aware. Not need to be. You can become more aware of your breath, and it will serve you well. Because what I even found out, having this higher level of fitness at one time, and for those of you guys just listening and not seeing, I put air quotes around high level of fitness, is that I could do a lot of cool things. But the thing is that how I was breathing, or even lack thereof at times, was really influencing not just the physical nature, but the mental and emotional nature. And that's really where I'm coming from with this breathing, is it influences your mindset and your emotions. And when you get in touch with your breath, you're going to become more consistent with your mindset and your emotions, which is also going to serve you well when it comes to wanting to achieve goals, but as well as getting the physical nature down as well. So it is multifaceted. So becoming more aware, just understanding, am I holding my breath now? Am I even breathing? How am I breathing? And the 2 ways that you can breathe is through your nose and through your mouth. Okay, to keep it simple, mouth breathing is often associated with your mind and your body as survival mode. You are just trying to survive. It's more shallow, it's in your chest, okay? What we want to focus on is predominantly breathing in and out of our nose, otherwise referred to as nasal breathing. Nasal breathing is the natural way for your body to breathe. Your air is humidified when it comes to your nose. Think about it. It comes here and down to your mouth. Again, for you guys just listening, the air comes to your nose and there's nasal pathway that leads to your throat. When you bypass that whole area, the air is not getting humidified. Okay. And when it comes through here, it also is warmed up, the air is, to the temperature so it can go into the body. And when it's humidifying the air, it's getting rid of a lot of these things that can irritate your throat, which furthermore irritate your body. So to breathe in and out of your nose is very important. And more importantly, it registers your mind more in this rest and digest state. Okay. And that is relative to your nervous system. So when your nervous system is more in that rest and digest phase, it is allowing your body to relax, allowing your mind to relax. Okay. So think about breathing in and out of your nose more often. Doesn't need to be always, okay, but more often. So that's breathing, to keep it simple. Okay. 2, beyond breathing, is to sleep. Sleep is so important. So important. Okay. Is that when it comes to sleep, you want to keep it consistent, going to bed and waking up at the same time each day. Okay. Not for weekdays and weekends having different time frames. Find a way that you can create a 30-minute window that you can wake up within and go to sleep within that works for weekdays and weekends, because your body has what's called a circadian rhythm. And what heavily influences your circadian rhythm is when the sun rises and when the sun sets, basically the light outside. Okay. And your circadian rhythm is a 24-hour rhythm or internal time clock that your mind and body functions off of. So the more consistent that you can make your waking up and you're going to sleep, the more optimal your body is going to function on a rhythm. So the number one thing to focus on is to get consistent with waking up and going to bed. Number two is how much time you are spending in bed. Okay. There's a great book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker, and I highly encourage you guys to give it a read because it's so insightful when it comes to sleep and why we sleep. Sleep is so important, and it can eradicate or get rid of so many things that are quote unquote ailments for you. So when you are prioritizing your sleep and getting enough sleep, I forget the exact stat, but there's a lot of things that when it comes to sleep that if you're undersleeping, let me go and rattle some of them off. Okay. You're putting yourself at an increased risk for cancer and for strokes and heart attacks. Okay. You are also, you're going to suppress the hormone in your body that basically allows you to feel full. And at the same time, you're going to increase the hormone in your body that makes you feel more hungry. So that's where it also influences your sleep. When you're undersleeping, meaning under 7 hours of sleep, is that you're basically making yourself more hungry when you're not really hungry. And then you're making yourself not be able to know when you're full, when you may be full, which is overeating. Okay. So sleep is super important. And where I was going at with that is how much to sleep. You should be aiming to give yourself at least 8 hours in bed. And you may look at me, but Colin, I spend nowhere near 8 hours in bed right now. And that's okay. Make small changes over a period of time. You can move your bedtime up. Okay. You can just change the windows of time that you're waking up and going to sleep by 5 to 15 minutes at a time, depending on where you're at. It doesn't need to be, hey, I'm only in bed for 6 hours right now. Let me go ahead and make that 8-hour window. Just change it 15 minutes at a time. Do 15 minutes for 1 to 2 weeks. Then bump up your bedtime another 15 minutes for 1 to 2 weeks. You want it to feel consistent before you make that next change. Okay. So to highlight the sleep area, make your going to bed and waking up consistent, and at least aim for 8 hours in bed. If you're not there, that's okay. Work towards it. Okay. Because if you want to sleep 8 hours, you need to at least be in bed for 8 hours. And here's why I'll leave the sleeping. There's a difference between time asleep and time in bed. Okay. You may be in bed, and we've all had those nights where we're in bed, but we're not sleeping. Okay. But time asleep is different than the time in bed. You need to give yourself enough opportunity to get more than 7 hours of sleep. Okay. So we have breathing, sleeping, and then next thing we have is eating. And this is something that, wow, can be very overcomplicated. Let me simplify this for you as much as I can. Okay. I look at the foundation of how you eat as, I should say, the foundation of eating is how you eat. The habits of how you eat will heavily influence what you're eating and when you're eating. Okay. So here's some simple things to focus on, because today's society and social norm is fast paced. Let's eat fast food. Let's get on the go. But I encourage you to give yourself time to eat. This made a significant change for me in so many capacities. Give yourself time to eat. Okay. Because if you give yourself enough time, the rest of this is going to then follow suit. Okay. You might think, well, how much time do I need? 15 to 20 minutes. Seriously, it's not that much time. Give yourself 15 to 20 minutes to eat your meals. Okay. What do you do in that 15 to 20 minutes? Number one, sit down. Sit down and eat. Number two, get rid of technology distractions. No TV, no phone, no tablet. Okay. Even like reading, yeah, okay, but let's put that away and just focus on eating. And I'm going to give you more things to focus on. Not more, but things to focus on that you don't really need those distractions. Sit down and enjoy talking with someone if you need to. Okay. Sit down, get rid of distractions. And that's 2. Now 3 is to chew your food. Seriously, 15 to 20 chews each bite of food at least. If this is hard for you like it was for me, put your utensil down so you chew your food before the next bite. I was someone that would just inhale my food, inhale it. Seriously, I'll go ahead and say it. I used to throw my food up all the time because I could not swallow it. I wasn't chewing enough. Yes, I was a 30-year-old man throwing up my food because I wouldn't chew it. Chewing your food is super important on many occasions. Number 1 is to slow down, but number 2 is it improves your digestion. When you improve the digestion of your food by chewing it, it's an actual mechanical thing. The food interacts with saliva, which makes it better to digest. When you're digesting it, you're absorbing more of the nutrients from the food, as well as making it easier on your body, like I said, to digest it, which is stressing it out less. So you get less bloating, you get less irritability, maybe less gassiness, because you're actually breaking down the food the way that it's meant to be doing. And by chewing it, it's the mechanical system of your body in the beginning of the digestion process. So when you do that, you're actually signaling to your brain, I'm eating. I'm going to be digesting food, which then allows you to slow down the pace that you're eating at and not only digest the food better, but be aware of when you're full instead of eating a lot and being like, oh my gosh, I feel sick. Okay. So when you chew your food and you get, or I should say, when you're overeating, then it's also going to affect your energy afterwards. You're going to have this downward spike and be low on energy. So chewing your food actually improves your energy because you're going to digest it. Your body's going to work not as hard as it's going to be more seamless. And at the same time, it's giving yourself the space to actually eat the food and understand what it is that you're eating. What I found out when I started chewing my food is that my food choices started becoming better. Because when I was trying to chew food that was more processed, not as good for me, A, you really can't chew it that much. And B, when you chew it enough, it does not taste that good after a while. Initially it does, but it does not after a while. Okay. Beyond chewing your food is the one other thing that I really suggest for people is to save your liquid intake, water, any other drink, to 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. A, to encourage you to chew, and B, to allow your body the opportunity to actually digest your food. Okay. There's some other ones, but we'll leave it at that. Okay. And then beyond how you eat, I'm going to go into what you eat. Focused on whole, unprocessed foods. So at least focus on making one meal a day yourself, eating it at home, sitting down and doing the habits that I just said. Okay. So give yourself the time and space, 15 to 20 minutes. Do the chewing, sit down, distraction free, limit the liquid intake, and focus on whole, unprocessed foods as much as you can. Okay. That's really as simple as eating needs to be. Beyond that, start there. Okay. Hydration is the fourth word, hydration. Okay. Number one thing about hydration is that drinking water alone is good, and it's a good place to start if you're not there. But hydration does not mean just only drinking water. It also includes the ability to absorb the water. Okay. You could drink all the water that you want, but how are you absorbing it? And you all know when you drink so much water and then you go to the bathroom and you just pee and it's clear, that's you not absorbing the water and you're actually drinking too much water. Okay. So with that being said, what's the number one thing to focus on with hydration? Half your body weight in ounces of water. So for me, I weigh about 160. At a minimum, each day I should be drinking 80 ounces of water. If you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water at a minimum. And if you exercise, sweat, otherwise basically exert your body, then listen to your thirst, become aware of that, and drink a little bit more as needed. Okay. Now with hydration, from there's electrolytes. Water plus electrolytes, and I'll tell you which ones in particular, is hydration. Because electrolytes are going to allow you to absorb the water better, plain and simple. I'm not going to go into the details of it. 3 electrolytes to focus on: sodium, Okay, so salt. Think about pink Himalayan salt. Start there, if anything. Potassium and magnesium. Okay, each one of those has their own role, but what those basically do is direct the water where it needs to go into the body. And it allows the cells to absorb more water. So you absorb the water, actually become hydrated, and allow it to have the positive benefit that you need. And not only does water help with energy, but so do electrolytes. Like magnesium serves plenty of roles when it comes to energy in your body. And it also helps influence more positive sleep. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can shoot me a message on Instagram or send me an email, which I'll touch on how to do that later in the episode. And I can give you how to do that for yourself for very cheap. Okay? So hydration, half your body weight in ounces of water, plus electrolytes to help you absorb more water. If you exert yourself and sweat, then drink a little bit more based on your thirst levels. Okay? And the last thing I would add to hydration is that when you chug water down a lot at one time, it may serve a benefit, and I would say that it has some benefit, but you're also not going to absorb much of that. It's just going to go right through you. So if you're drinking water, do a little drink, set it down, okay? And what I would encourage you to do is to invest in something like this. Put stickers on it, make it look cool, because it's going to make drinking and hydrating that much more appealing. Now, beyond hydration, the final one, number 5, is movement, okay? Movement and play, actually. Movement and play, okay? And this category is something that is super important to me because I've really dug deep on this. And, as I mentioned, my background, having worked in the CrossFit gym, worked with Division I athletes, my degree is in strength and conditioning. I got the knowledge base here, but more importantly, that's not the only reason to listen to me, is that I embody movement and play now. Because I was so rigid with working out and so obsessive and even competed in the sport of CrossFit and fitness and all about my fitness that I did it at the detriment of my health. And there's this trade-off of quote unquote training for health and training for performance. Professional athletes are not as healthy as they can be, or are not the healthiest people. They look like it, okay? But they get injured more frequently because they train so much, okay? Not just train, but play. Is that they're doing this for a living. They're making money off of it. And that's different than those of us that are just wanting to be healthy. When you're training for performance to constantly improve, get PRs, lift heavier weight, that's training specifically for performance. And there's a time and place for that. But when you're always training performance, it's at the sacrifice or detriment of your health. And I lived that for the longest time. I was burnt out, I was overtrained, I didn't rest. And there's a simple thing here that you are only as fit as you are able to recover. And fitness is a component of health. So really, you are only as healthy as you are able to recover. And I would encourage you to look through the lens of how can you prioritize recovery? Because that's how you're really going to manifest or benefit from what you're doing from a working out perspective. Okay? Okay, let me take a breath. I went into that one deep, okay? And I went into that one hard. Here's what I would advocate. Keep it simple. 10 minutes a day at a minimum, you are investing on being intentional with your movement. Go for a walk every single day at a minimum. Get outside. Play. Play is more of a mindset than anything else, but just move your body every day. That doesn't mean you need to work out, but at a minimum, spend 10 minutes. Go for a walk. Do a little bit of stretching. Just get yourself moving more consistently. Okay? Yeah. I want to keep that one simple. It really is that simple. And that's what I live my day by. I just aim to move 10 minutes a day. Sometimes that involves doing some weighted stuff. Sometimes that involves just using my body. Sometimes that involves focusing on flexibility. Sometimes that is just going for a walk. Sometimes it's playing with my daughter, playing with my wife, something along those lines, just being outside. Is that I imagine if you were to be just more consistent with the movement, instead of thinking like, oh, I have to work out, I have to go to the gym. First of all, you don't need to go to the gym. Okay? It's a way that you can And if you like working out, I think working out's great. Not anti-working out. But if there's this thought in your mind about working out and you don't do it consistently, then it's time for you to change your perspective on it and just start focusing on the minimum effective dosage. 10 minutes a day, get outside, walk, get in the sun. There's so many benefits from that. Okay. So I would have loved to keep that more simple and short, but we'll stop there. So health really is this simple thing. 5 words: breathe, sleep, eat, hydrate, move. Boom. Focus on those things daily. And if you're nowhere close to any of those, that's okay. Start with one and build that first. Your base can only be as tall, your pyramid can only be as tall as your base is wide. Your base is your foundation. Set your foundation. Okay. When you build your foundation and build this consistency, think about in 1 year, even 6 months. Maybe don't move every day, but if you moved like 90% of those days, holy crap, man, you'd be so far and you'd make so much progress instead of working out for a couple weeks, being so sore, being inconsistent, not working out for 3 months. Okay. That's just an example. I'm going to stop there. Hope this was beneficial to you. If you guys have any feedback, questions on this, reach out to me on Instagram, send a message at Colin_Meaves, or send me an email, Colin@CoachColin. And this is a reminder that I also have an email list that I send weekly emails out, content, insight, information, knowledge. If you're interested in that, we can get you subscribed to that. Send me a message and I will get you on that list. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have the ability and feel so kind to give this a like, give this a review, a rating on whatever platform you are taking this in, leave a review. Let me know. Give me some feedback. I would love to hear from you guys. Again, message me on Instagram, send me an email, or leave a review on the platform that you're listening on. With that, hope you're having a great day. If it's the beginning of your day, now is your time to make a choice to make this a great day. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.